coming up this week on the Course of Life podcast, recapping a very busy golf Sunday with a triple playoff moment in pro golf. We had old guys arguing, plus outside of the game of golf, Joey Chestnut returns, NBA free agency. We're tuned into an old movie, a new show, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we're debating on the internet, all coming up on a loaded Course of Life podcast that starts now.
Hello, interwebs, and welcome to Course of Life. I'm Michael, he's Alex. And Alex, let's head to Detroit Golf Club in Detroit, Michigan, car capital of America,
yes.
For the Rocket Classic. We don't call it the Rocket Mortgage.
Oh, they
anymore.
dropped the
It's
mortgage?
Just
Wow.
the Rocket Classic.
Okay.
And hey, they had a 3-man playoff.
Yes, that's right. It was a 20-year-old, a 30-year-old, and a 40-year-old. How about that?
Yep. 2 Americans and a young South African. And the guy who lost a playoff earlier this year to Brian Campbell at the Mexico Open at Vedanta World, Aldrich Potgieter.
Nice work. There you go.
Took the win in the 5th playoff hole with a birdie, beating up Max Greiserman and Chris Kirk, who was gone pretty quick on the second hole. So Aldrich Potgieter, the 20-year-old, is now a PGA Tour champion, the youngest South African to ever win on tour.
For sure, yeah. And a minor, an under 21 PGA Tour winner. It's been a while since we've had one of those. I feel like maybe Jordan Spieth was the last one. There's probably someone in between. But the bottom line is young, talented, and hits the ball a country mile. I mean, he had some disastrously long drives. He could basically get within 30 or 40 yards of the first green. The first green's a 400-yard par 4. I mean, it's like he just plays a different game. He's part of that new young generation that was just taught growing up to hit it as far as you freaking can, and we'll figure out the rest. And he's quickly figuring out the rest, having already gotten his first win at such a young age.
Well, that bomb and gouge mentality let Bryson DeChambeau really trademarked, I guess we could say. Certainly worked out for Potgieter. It helps when you have a course that's easy, like Detroit Golf Club.
Yeah, flat course. Yeah,
under par, the winning score. And we had records set like nonstop Thursday into Friday. We had a course record set. We had a new course record set like an hour later. We had that course record tied. And then the next day we had a new course record set.
Yep. That's how you know a course is playing easy. And it didn't quite play that easy in past years. So this was a bit of an exception, but it just goes to show you how great the world's best are getting year over year, where if they get a flat track like this and not too crazy conditions, they're absolutely going to turn this into a birdie fest. So 22 under par from a 20-year young PGA Tour winner. Very fitting way for him to get it done. It was a long playoff. Went right through the local news, right through the CBS Evening News. Took us all the way into the evening. But it was a fun Sunday finish that was part of a fairly chaotic Sunday in golf as well.
Yeah, I do have to ask before we move on to the other chaos that happened around the world. Why in the world do they do a playoff format of doing 18, 15, 16, 14, 15? I think they were going to do 16 again.
That was crazy.
Jump back. Why not just do like 18, 18, 18, 18?
I like the idea of mixing in new holes besides 18. However, I think you do have to come back to 18 because it's fundamentally the easiest hole to have a sudden death playoff on. You've got most of the fans captive there on the 18th green. I like the idea of maybe mixing in one hole like they did with 15, also a cool par 3. But beyond that, there was an unprecedented amount of golf bros in collared shirts running from fairway to fairway for about an hour and a half trying to catch the proper playoff hole. A little bit of a logistical confusion there.
I think the better thing to do is similar to what the RBC Canadian did, and you just move the cup after a few times of playing 18.
I did like that. I sneaky like that. Now, as time goes away, I think I like that option more and more. Is you do 18, and we can just move that cup in 5 minutes and flip it real quick. I like that.
Why not? So there you go. PGA Tour, we go to the John Deere Classic in Silvis, Illinois next. Another easy course, birdie fest. We'll see if what do you think? They're going to hit 22 under par at the John Deere, or do you think it's going to be lower?
Probably,
higher?
yeah. This is another birdie fest course. It's usually somewhere in between like 15 and low 20s under. And Illinois, love that. Good little fun tease for this week's guest coming up later as well, too.
Yeah. Let's switch over to the LPGA because the chaos continued with another playoff over there. They were doing team golf because Why not? Team golf is great golf. And,
I enjoyed it, yeah.
Lexi Thompson and Megan Kang just couldn't do it. As a South Korean duo of Jin Hee Im and Somi Lee took the win in the first playoff hole with an 8-foot birdie putt.
Yeah, this is a quicker playoff. But Lexi and Megan were Team Biggie Smalls. I kind of like that nickname. Lexi's got about a foot on Megan Kang, so that was an apropos team name. They got in the clubhouse at 20 under. Lee and Im matched them, and then they go right back to that par 3 18th, which I love, by the way. 18 as a par 3 over water. Very cool, interesting vibe there. And they both knocked it close. Megan Kang missed the shorty, though. And then Im Cook took care of it and got the win for them, both their first wins on the LPGA Tour. So very impressive stuff. Lexi Thompson, she's been knocking on the door a lot recently, but just wasn't able to close it out.
It's been 6 years since Lexi Thompson won on the LPGA.
Yeah, that is crazy. A crazy long time.
It's been a long time. The LPGA takes a week off before they head to the Amundi Evian Championship at Evian-les-Bains in France. Their second to last major of the season.
Got it.
And another quick turnaround. They'll do the Amundi. They'll have one more tournament for the Women's Scottish Open, and then they do the AIG Women's Open at Porthcawl.
Yep. Portrush, Porthcawl for Lynx golf season coming up for both the Opens. So excited to skip across the pond. We're definitely in that mode, by the way, TV sports wise, where we get a lot of Europe right now. We just started Wimbledon this week. So you get 2 weeks of tennis in England. Now we go into Lynx golf and the Evian. So we're going to get a lot of European scenery for American sports fans here in the next few weeks.
Just because there were playoffs on the PGA Tour and the LPGA Tour, LIV Golf was like, hey guys, we have a playoff too.
Yep, pretty much. Yeah, I had to text you and tell you. You didn't really care that much, but a playoff's a playoff, and it was a triple playoff moment. And yeah, even the LIV Golf event went to sudden death.
Patrick Reed, Junichiro Kozuma, Louis Oosthuizen, and Paul Casey all battling it out at single par after only 3 boring rounds of golf. And Patrick Reed, everyone's worst enemy, was able to take the win for his 4 aces. But Paul Casey's Crushers have won the team event for like the 3rd straight week.
Yeah, basically Bryson, Paul Casey, Anrabon, and them just cleaning up in the team event. So if you can't win the individual, you might as well win the team if you're on LIV, where it's just an endless money grab out there. So shout out to them for getting that done, because Bryson's team has been on absolute fire and quite literally crushing it. The big LIV headline that everyone saw this past week, though, was Brooks Koepka freaking out and smashing a tee marker. So we'll see if there's any fallout, apology, messaging the next time we see him. But Koepka very unhappy with his game lately.
Well, it's going to be interesting in whole. You talked about this being a money grab in the LIV Tour. Of course, the rumor is that the new contracts they're going to be handing out to these guys contain 0 guaranteed money.
Well, I mean, I guess the hedge there would be if they're maybe amping up the already gigantic purses each week. That might be how they try and sell some of these players. But I am very interested, just from a business perspective, to see how that goes in that negotiation. If they really aren't going to offer the guaranteed money, which I would contend was one of the big reasons a lot of players left. So if they're not offering that, what does that mean for the future of the players? If
you take away the guaranteed money, if these guys still need to play non-LIV events to get world golf ranking points to give themselves a chance to play in the majors,
right,
then there really, to me, is very little draw to go to LIV Golf unless you want one less round to have to play every weekend.
Yeah,
and you like the team golf aspect of this.
And there are a small crop of players that may be in that category where they're just they're late in their career, want the lifestyle change, okay with the team format, don't need the rigors of the PGA Tour. There could be a crop there. We're just going to see what that crop looks like when the time comes.
Yeah, we will indeed. Let's over to the senior circuit. It was the U.S. Senior Open Championship this weekend at the Broadmoor in Colorado Springs. Gorgeous venue.
My God, that was so nice seeing the mountains in the background. You know, our friend of the show, Elizabeth Diane Veith, was out there last week doing some giveaways there, showing off how deep the rough was as well, too, but also just the beauty of the course. I mean, Colorado, the mountains in the background, pretty much everywhere you look. That's a cool golf destination we have not checked off yet that I'd love to add to the list for sure.
I miss the mountains just in general. I miss mountains and hills.
No, I feel that.
Yeah. But hey, it felt like the PGA Tour 20 years ago. Patty Harrington and Stuart Sink battling it out. Miguel Angel Jimenez right behind them.
Yep.
And it really was kind of match play between Harrington and Stuart Sink as they both played together every day, right, through the entire 4 rounds.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, Padrig Harrington was able to claim victory when Stuart Sink could not sink the birdie putt on 18.
Well played, yeah.
And so Patty Harrington, 2 senior U.S. Opens. Yeah. And
he had an interesting week with the media as well, too.
He did, indeed.
It started with the press conference where he kind of threw a slight to Captain Keegan Bradley, kind of implying that he doesn't think Keegan Bradley can play and be a captain at the same time. So it started with that, and then it sort of ended with a little bit of an old guy fight against, of all people, Roger Maltbie.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't love Roger Maltbie?
Classic.
Other than Padrig Harrington. So basically, Padrig Harrington on Saturday hit his ball into the rough.
Okay.
Roger Maltbie was over there in the vicinity.
Yeah.
Everyone was looking for the ball except for Roger Maltbie.
Typically in that scenario, the on-course reporter does do some sort of helping for a lost ball in that scenario, just generally speaking.
Maltbie didn't. Patty walked up to Roger and went, "Hey, are you going to help?" And supposedly Roger just stood there and said nothing.
Oh, the cold shoulder. Interesting.
Cold shoulder. Patty eventually turned around and walked away. Maltbie supposedly said there's no chance of finding this ball anyway.
Oh. Roger Maltbie was tired at the end of a long day walking the mountains and decided that he really wasn't going to put the extra effort in for a ball that he knew was gone. I think that's what's going on here.
That's what it seemed like.
And then they had a little hissy fit in the scoring area where they kind of yelled at each other in old man style. Didn't get physical at all, but just always interesting to see 2 oldies arguing it out after 18 holes. But hey, Patty got the last laugh because he got the win on Sunday.
He did indeed. But I mean, this begs a question. So, I mean, do you, as the on-course reporter, you're supposed to, as a reporter in general, you're a fly in the wall. You watch what happens. You don't usually participate in what happens. So I guess while it may be considered like the on-course reporter may occasionally help, my question is Maltbie the guy who doesn't though? Or did he just not help Patty Harrington? Like I want greater context here because I don't feel bad for Maltbie for not looking for the ball. And it seems like Harrington's response was a little overblown.
Yeah, and the one piece of context that I'll add just from being at a lot of events is these on-course reporters are about 100 to 200 yards ahead of the group they're following. Meaning Roger Maltbie is at where Padrig Harrington's ball is for a good 60 to 90 seconds before the player and the caddy even get there. I think that's probably the part that annoyed Patty is that Maltbie probably is in a position to be looking for that ball and just chose in that moment not to. I think that's kind of where that branched off.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is, but
another random debate in the game of golf. What a silly game to play.
I will say I was very disappointed at the U.S. Senior Open let Angel Cabrera miss the cut.
He did. Well, it's him versus Jimenez for Player of the Year in our mind. So
it is right now. I mean, if he had made the cut and been in the mix here, then I think he probably would be Player of the Year. But it's still a couple months left here. We'll see what happens. But I don't know. All right, so World of Golf, kind of a break week before we hit into the British Open and all the golf over in the United Kingdom. Is the July 4th weekend. So we get to celebrate America in whatever way you feel comfortable and seem fit, depending on your current political views.
Mine's going to be very pool-filled. 100 degrees here in Texas, couple pool parties. And then I'm doing some dog sitting as well, too. So we're not really going to be participating in a lot of the fireworks. We're going to be shielding dogs from firework noise, essentially, throughout the weekend. But July 4th weekend, I got a Vegas trip in a week and a half, which we'll get into in a little bit. And then I hit the road to Illinois, where there's going to be some epic golf on the way and there. So yes, summer. Very, very busy month. Lots of time on the road as well, too.
Yeah. It'll be fun. So then since you're going to be on the road, the question becomes when you're driving on the highway.
Yep.
And the speed limit is, let's say, 65.
That's pretty standard highway speed limit. Yeah,
it's pretty standard. 65 or 70, depending on where you are. How fast do you go in a 65 zone?
Yep, this got a little contentious on the internet this past week. Mm-hmm. That exact question right there. Essentially, I had replied to an Instagram post from a guy that I follow. He's That Englishman in Texas. Shout him out. Just an Englishman living in Texas. He posted a video basically talking about speeds and how fast you have to go on the highway. And everything that he said, I agree with. But it's my comment that I put below that started a gigantic argument where I said, okay, fine. But if I'm going 82 miles per hour, 82 in a 65, don't tailgate me. I'm going fast enough. Yeah. LOL. And apparently that statement lit off a treasure trove of trolls from all angles and all lanes of the highway who actually really, really hate the fact that I'm going 82 in a 65 because apparently that is far too slow for everyone.
Yeah, basically the takeaway I got when I read through all these comments when you sent this to me,
and there's lots of them, by the way.
It's not a problem that you're going 82 in a 65. Literally, nobody cares that you're going 17 miles over the speed limit.
Correct.
Which I think is close. That's close to criminal speed.
I mean, that's close to ticket territory. Let's just lay it on the line. I've done a lot of driving, you know.
I always viewed it as you need to stay under 10 over. Because if you go over more than 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, you're going to get a ticket. You're going to get pulled over and you're going to get a ticket.
So here I am admitting to a crime.
Yeah. And everyone's saying I'm going to summarize and add an additional colorful metaphor to what everyone was saying. Yeah. Get the fuck out of the left lane is what they were all saying.
They said the left lane is for passing. Okay, I fully understand the left lane is for passing. However, I am going a speed. I'm telling you I'm going 82 and a 65. I am going a passing speed. I am that passer. You might be looking at me as the slow car, but no, indeed, I am going a passing speed. So there's these cars that are going 100 gazillion miles an hour that are asking me to move. I am going fast enough in the left-hand lane. I will absolutely die on the hill that 82 miles an hour in the left-hand lane on a 65 mile per hour speed limit is fast enough.
It is, in my opinion, way too fast.
So there you go. Their own, you said it's way too fast. How about that?
But look. The problem I have here is that, okay, the left lane is for passing. That's what it's always there for. It is a passing lane almost any state you're in. You're supposed to be in the left lane to pass. And I will try not to use the left lane a lot because I am usually going too fast for the right lane. If there's 3 lanes, I'm too fast for the right lane. I'm almost too fast for the middle lane, but I'm way too slow for the left lane. So I need to choose which lane I go in. And if I'm trying to pass someone and I see people coming up behind me, I will speed up a little bit to get past them a little faster and get over.
Absolutely.
Because I'm a courteous, kind gentleman driver.
Oh my God, you have half a heart. That's all it takes on the road. You don't even need a full heart on the road.
People still hate me because I'm still not going fast enough. Obviously, if you're not going 1,000,000 miles an hour in the left lane, then you're going 1,000,000 miles an hour too slow.
Feel free to check out That Englishman in Texas's post on his feed and read through the comments. They're absolutely hilarious. I just comically love mixing it up with these random people who I'll never meet. But just know that 82 is fast enough. And if you need to go faster than that and you think 82 and a 65 is too slow, you need to reevaluate your priorities in life. That's all. That's pretty much it.
That's it. Basically, we're calling you all a bunch of idiots.
Yeah. They say I'm camping. They said I'm camping in the left-hand lane at 82 miles an hour. They use the word camping, Mike.
Do you think those people that say you're going too slow and that you're camping in the left lane are also the people that recline on you on the airplane?
Yes, they are. Oh, my goodness. All right, we're going to start grouping all the lists of what these people are. So we'll start keeping track that those two people are the same. You're right about that.
Yep, there you go. But hey, other than checking out all those comments that you're doing on Instagram, everyone should also be checking out your shorts that you do on Instagram as well, because they're just racking up views. Right,
the Boston guy's doing pretty well. 7,000 views.
Yeah,
I just broke out the accent that I heard my entire life. It was pretty easy.
You should just use that accent throughout the show one day.
Just whip it out whenever I want.
Yeah.
Full episode?
You can carry it better than I can. I can't do as much in it because I'm not from Boston. I'm from New Hampshire. So.
I think this might be a running content series. Yeah, it's at Course of Life Alex and at COL Podcast on Instagram to check all that stuff out. We post some stuff from the pod and social on YouTube as well at Course of Life Podcast. So be sure to check us out there.
All right, let's switch over to Tuned In and share what we're tuning into outside of the world of sports. I saw a very, very exciting announcement, Alex. So you know that I am a big Mel Brooks fan.
Yes, Mel Brooks, legendary.
Mel Brooks, legendary. One of the most famous Jewish filmmakers of all time.
There you go. Shout to Jews. Love it.
And probably one of his best movies of all time. Up there with the likes of Blazing Saddles. And the producers is Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein,
which is just, Gene Wilder, Peter Boyle, Marty Feldman. It's just classic. It's just amazing. I watch this movie every October in honor of Halloween. The great satire of Frankenstein and the Frankenstein movies.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of satire.
The movie came out in 1974. It has been announced that they are going to start making a television project on FX called Very Young Frankenstein.
Interesting.
And it's going to be headed by three of the people behind What We Do in the Shadows, including Taika Waititi.
Oh, that's your guy. You got a hard one for Taika Waititi. I know that. Yeah. So if he's involved and it's something you love, that's a tradition. This could be a banger for you.
Look, June has been a great month for Mel Brooks because we had Spaceballs 2 announced just the other week.
Yep.
And now we have Very Young Frankenstein being announced that they're going to do a show based on this. I have no idea what this is actually going to be. It's just based on Young Frankenstein. That's all we know.
Yep.
So, but it's going to be interesting because Gene Wilder and Peter Boyle are my Victor Frankenstein and Monster. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to see how it goes.
I'm excited for you and your excitement for it.
Yeah.
Love it. Awesome. My tuned ins are quick. We'll do 30 seconds on each one, starting with what I'm watching right now. New season of The Bear is out. Season 4. Right now, the restaurant itself is going through those struggling times where they don't know how much longer they're going to be open. The one whole shot, though, Michael, is if they get a Michelin star. So they're trying as hard as they can for perfection in the culinary world and getting that star that could keep the restaurant open and revive it. So that's season 4 of The Bear, which I've been enjoying a lot. Throwback movie I watched, Michael, Casino. You remember Casino?
I've watched it once.
De Niro and Pesci, classic. Classic De Niro and Pesci. The two of them, just amazing acting between the two of them. There's some just iconic scenes. Sharon Stone as Ginger as well, too.
Were you watching Casino because you hope to relive it when you go to Vegas this year?
Thanks for that drum roll there. I will be reliving the Casino movie in Las Vegas 2 weeks from now. Another amazing reason to follow along as well, too.
I'm a little concerned about your safety if you're going to relive Casino.
What we're going to do is we're just going to relive the 17 seconds where they walk into one of the most iconic restaurants in Las Vegas.
Okay.
I've been doing some networking behind the scenes, which you may or may not be privy to some of. And thanks to some friends in Las Vegas at the Plaza, we're going to make that movie dream come true and recreate an iconic scene from Casino in a couple weeks. So looking forward to that, and did a fun little bit of research before the trip.
You also need to get in touch with the guy. I think I talked about on the podcast a couple weeks ago, that Vegas wine guy who does those POVs of him opening $1,000 bottles of wine. I got to
see where that is. If that's near downtown, I would totally go visit that.
He had some Michelin rated restaurant in Vegas. I forget which one.
Okay. Yeah. Send me that information after we hop off, because I will totally add that to the itinerary. Love that.
Yeah. There we go.
Other tuned in, huge news, Michael, MTV. Have you heard?
No.
1 week starting on my birthday, September 1st to September 7th, as a lead up to the MTV Video Music Awards, the network will be going 24/7 music videos for an entire week. Our prayers finally answered, if only for 7 days.
Wow. They should just play Video Killed the Radio Star.
They're doing new, old, and everything in between. Those are all on the list. The Thriller Video Killed the Radio Star, and all the classics that made the network famous.
Can they do TRL from Times Square?
I'm hearing Carson Daly is involved, and that is my next thought. I don't even need it all 5 days. If they just do one TRL countdown, it would make my life. That would be the ultimate tuned in moment for us. Look, so September 1st to 7th, all videos for MTV.
If Britney Spears and Christina Aguilera don't show up in a celebrity death match right afterwards, by the way, if they could do a 24, if they could just throw that in somewhere in this mix, I know it's not a music video, but if they can bring back celebrity death match, I'll actually watch.
I love that idea. Yeah, there you go. There's some free penny for your thoughts there for MTV ideas for September 1st to 7th. But then this week on our final tuned in, quick prediction on July 4th, the return of the GOAT, Joey Chestnut.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't know. His over-under is probably somewhere in the low 70s for hot dogs. But A, will he win? And B, by how many hot dogs is he going to do it?
Well, do you think, is he getting to do the veggie hot dogs that he's promoting too?
No, babe. We're going we're back to all beef. We've settled the beef, pun intended, and he's doing all Nathan's beef hot dogs, going for the win again.
What's his record again?
I think it's like 75, 76. It's somewhere in the mid 70s.
All right, I'll be crazy out there.
Yep.
I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm literally picking a number out of thin air. 81.
Okay, I like that. I'll go aggressive. I'll say no record, but close. 74.5 for me. So Joey Chestnut gracing us again with his presence at the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Competition. Thank God that score has been settled. It's going to be great to see him out there.
There you go. All right, let's get to the turn and this week's guest. Alex, it's July. Like you just said, you're going to be traveling all over the country, including heading up for your annual trip to Illinois, where you're going to be spending a little bit more time than usual this year. But that means you're going to escape the Texas dry heat of 150 billion degrees for Illinois, and I'm guessing humidity because it's Illinois, right?
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Cornfields, golf, and a lot of relaxing time for the summer vacay. I'll be doing a little bit of work up there, but always great to make the trip up. And in honor of that, I even made a little fun TV appearance on Good Day Stateline a week or two ago, which you can check out on Instagram. And now we're catching up with the host of Good Day Stateline, Michelle Abraham. Next up, based in Rockford, Illinois, she's the host of Good Day Stateline on Fox 39. I got to appear on her show recently as well, talking golf. It's Michelle Abraham joining us on The Course of Life. Michelle, how are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you, Alex?
Very good. Great to see you in the studio and great to have you on the podcast as well to get a little bit more of your background in the broadcasting world. For me specifically, I went to school for broadcasting, but it first started with me doing high school radio, but I read your bio and it looked like you've been doing kind of the Michelle TV show for your entire life. When did you first decide that you wanted to do something with yourself in front of a camera?
I can only remember as far back as being 7, which is definitely when I hosted my first TV show in my parents' living room. My parents made my brother and I get babysitters. Well, we were getting too old to need one, but we would fight a lot. So we would have babysitters. And so even when we were 7 and 9, we would have our babysitters do what we wanted to do. So I did a radio show with one of my babysitters where I would interview her, and she was the leader of a band. And then my other babysitter, who was not a very good actress, she was my first guest on my talk show. And we have this all on video because my brother got the video camera. We were definitely children of the 90s where it's a big, VHS camera and no parents to supervise us. And that's what we did. So that's kind of the length of this career.
For sure. Yeah. That kind of reminds me of watching TRL as a kid and seeing Carson Daly interview the stars and me being inspired to maybe be the next Tim or Ryan Seacrest down the line as well.
Totally.
Very cool. And so I know that you eventually got into kind of a crash course in how to learn how to be a broadcaster at a professional level by actually going to a broadcasting school. That's something that kind of gets thrown around in the media world a lot, but I'm curious what that crash course was like and what the experience was like going to a school to learn how to broadcast professionally as you got older.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting because I went to a 4-year university first. I went to Drake University in Des Moines. And I have a degree in magazine journalism, which can tell you how old I am because I'm sure the degree still exists, but there wasn't a lot of online portion in that time. We were actually writing print journalism, which does exist, but not in the same form. And I graduated and I was copy editing at a business in Evanston. And I was like, not loving it. I mean, I was good at it. I liked doing it, but all day I spent upstairs in this media. It was like a food media place and everyone else was downstairs having fun. And I was just upstairs editing everyone's work. And I remembered this is not what I wanted to do with my life. So I went back to broadcasting school. At the time, it was called Illinois Center for Broadcasting. Now it's called Illinois Media School, pretty sure. And it was just like a 1-year program of radio and TV. And so it was really interesting because, yes, there were people there who just wanted to go to some sort of college, and this is where they landed because they thought it would be easy. But for me, especially after going through 4 years of college, like this is where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do and learn everything. And the internships are what ends up getting you your foot in the door. But it was only 1 year, which is just super different than another college.
Yeah.
And I had an internship in Chicago at a TV show called You and Me This Morning, which was on WCIU. It is no longer on WCIU, but that's kind of was my first experience really in a talk show day to day. And I was like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to do.
Very cool. So yeah, now you have Good Day Stateline, which you host and produce as well too. And that is a daily Monday through Friday show. I have a small appreciation of what it's like to put together content that just comes out once a week. You're doing it for content that comes out 5 days a week. Walk our audience through what that's actually like to film and create these shows that air 5 days a week.
Yeah. So for me, being the executive producer, it's a lot of patterns because that's the best way to fill something. I've always told everyone in the building that Good Day Stateline is like a magazine, not a newspaper, which is probably from my background. But we try really hard to be planning things as far out as possible. I have Christmas stuff on my calendar right now. We're not like diving into it, but I do have it already there.
That's okay. The Christmas in July fans appreciate that you're getting excited already.
Getting excited. But a lot of our show, or a hefty portion, maybe 50%, is through advertisers, local advertisers and small businesses that want to be part of our show. So they do that through our sales department. So that's kind of handed to us. I would say that's a good 2 out of 5 segments for every day. But the other 3 are ours to create and, bring what we want to the show. This is, my gosh, we started in 2019. We had an hour-long show on Sunday mornings, which I was not the executive producer at the time of that. So watching that grow to now, my hopes are always that every audience member is having fun somewhere in the show. And so where I can put that in is where I want to put that in. So right now, the way that we do that is just every single day, there's like a fun element that's there where we can go find the guests that we think will fit the bill the best. And again, we try to do that in advance. Our newest segment we just launched last week. It's called GDS Summer School. It's taking place of a teacher segment that we did in the school year. And so we're learning things. So last week we learned the proper way to run for Global Running Day. And then yesterday we learned how to tie a tie for Father's Day, which was a skill that my coordinating producer who's on air with me, she just like really wanted to learn how to tie a tie. And that's like the fun we want our audience to have while they're also learning about local businesses and new places to go in the area. So it's kind of like a balance. It's not news at all, except for maybe some entertainment news. But yeah, it's, we try, it's the fun stuff. That's what we try to say.
Definitely. By the way, I still need a little bit of coaching on tying a tie after all these years.
I don't know if I could do it again.
No, that's great perspective. And yeah, it's a local resource for people that even live locally, still are learning about new things that pop up in the Stateline area. I'm someone that's been going there for about a decade. I had the pleasure of marrying into a Stateline family. My wife, also Michelle, is from the Rockford area. So that's how I got to know the area. But for those who haven't been to the Illinois, Wisconsin Stateline area, it sits about 90 miles northwest of Chicago. Give some perspective of what the area is like and who the people are like that you deal with on a daily basis.
Yeah. So I actually grew up in Schaumburg, so a suburb of Chicago. I moved out here. Well, I started working out here in 2013. So quite some time where I can say that this community is willing to let everyone succeed. They want everyone to just do well in whatever corner that is for you, whether it's your TV show or somebody who has a new store or a restaurant. Like everyone is trying to do their best at all times and they're really welcoming. It is such a small town, big city. People told me that when I first started working here and I was like, no, it's 150,000 people. No way. Yes way. We'll see the same people once every 2 weeks or something, no matter where you are, which is like such a great thing. And people do really care what you're doing. I imagine being in a much larger market like Chicago or something like that. Of course, you have people who are maybe like fans if you're on TV, right? They're like, oh, I love watching you. Your clothes are cool. But where we are, it's so different. The compliments that we get or the conversations we have with people when we're on the street is about their experience watching us, and they really do watch and they care about what we're talking about because it's local to them, but also they truly feel like you're their best friend, which is a fun concept because you know that there aren't 3 million people watching you every night. So on the flip side, like we appreciate our viewers, I think probably in a different way than a super large market does.
Yeah, you definitely have that connection in the area, and that resonates to the people that I've met there just in my limited experiences. I'm excited to spend pretty much a full summer up there, and I know you're going to be very busy with all your endeavors throughout the summer too. Beyond Good Day Stateline, our sports fans will be really interested to hear about your role with the Rockford Ice Hogs, which is essentially the minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks in the NHL. How did that opportunity come about to be the in-game MC for the Ice Hogs?
So this was the end of my second season last month. It's crazy to think that the hockey players are still playing, though. My dad just reminded me yesterday that we still be going. I was like, holy cow, it's 90 degrees out. Basically, they were looking for a new person. The previous guy who did it full time, he contacted me 3 years ago and said, do you want to do this with me? Because they're looking to add a girl. They never had a full-time girl do the in-game MC. And then when he left, I took over along with he's kind of my partner because sometimes we get to work together, but sometimes we don't. So his name's Matt and he works for the local radio stations out here. And so we kind of trade off games, being the in-game MC, but some big games we get to do together. I am actually a huge sports fan, but if you would have told me any time in my life that I would end up working in hockey, I would have said, how? Because I actually could maybe color commentary on baseball, basketball. I could be paying attention to football, but I've never really watched hockey in my entire life because Blackhawks were blacked out most of my childhood. But that's not what I do. I watch the game as much as I can, but my job there, much like my job here, is just to have fun with the audience. But it's so fun because the audience of the Ice Hogs game is actually there. And so I get to interact with human beings instead of a screen, which, day-to-day screen, sometimes like low-key, you're good, but it's fun on a Friday or Saturday night to actually engage with the people right there. And we know from tons of surveys and just comments and stuff that our Ice Hogs fans love the game outside of the game. They love playing the trivia games. They love all the fun we have on the ice, and it's like a huge part of their experience. So I never, ever would have guessed that. I think I've been to like 40-something hockey games in the last 2 years. And that is crazy.
Very cool. Yeah. And we get that AHL experience here in Austin. Our Texas Stars actually play the Rockford Ice Hogs occasionally during the season. And going to those games, you're right. It's a game within a game during the breaks and the stoppages because you throw it to the MC and there's all sorts of fun games and moments and crowd interactions that happen on the Jumbotron with the crowd. Give me an example of some crazy stuff that happens during the break or some fun games that you guys enjoy playing at Ice Hogs games with you as the MC.
My favorite is during the intermission. So it's on the ice and we only played it a couple times. It's called Hot or Cold. And it's always like a very, very like excited little boy. And he's 8 to 10 years old. So picture a little boy, 8 to 10 years old. He's on the ice. He has to be blindfolded and he's trying to get to our mascot, Hammy. And if he finds Hammy, he wins something, usually a signed stick. And the crowd has to help, which is why it's such a great game. So the crowd cheers or boos if he's hot or cold. And the times that I've been able to participate in that, there could have been maybe 2 people in the stands helping him, and I would have had the best time ever. Like, it's just so fun to have everyone come together and help this little kid. And it's like, I hope we play it every game next season.
Yeah, what is it about someone being blindfolded and the discovery of things that just makes it so exciting? Isn't that wild?
Oh, it's the best. It's my favorite game.
One of the weirder things I did recently in my content is I started playing golf holes blindfolded.
Oh my gosh.
And it's really difficult, but it's a ton of fun. It's like very freeing. You don't think about anything when you swing. It's actually a ball. I'm really enjoying it.
I would probably hurt someone if I did that, but
it can be dangerous to do it on an open course. Definitely. Awesome. Again, it's Michelle Abraham joining us here from Good Day Stateline. Let's get into some fun questions as well. One other thing that I read about in your bio, which I know you're very proud of, is yourself being a published author. Congrats on that. That's not an easy feat. Tell everyone about Lunchtime Smorgasbord and what went into that concept.
Yeah. Lunchtime Smorgasbord is my children's book. It's about me and my brother, kind of the beginning of what we were talking about, how we always were doing crazy things together. I actually wrote it in college. I was in a children's literature class, and we had to come up with memories from our childhood and pick one and write a book. So I did that. It's about my brother and I having a breakfast and lunch competition and seeing who wins when my mom is not home. The whole concept is we just fight until we're home alone, and then we can finally be friends. And I published it at the end of 2022. And I'm actually working on the Christmas version that should be ready by this fall.
Nice.
And it's called Christmas Cookie Showdown of Lunchtime Smorgasbord.
Love that.
And I mean, I've been writing since I could talk. So that's always been fun for me. I just like very creative, very fun, kid-oriented stuff. If I wasn't doing this, I'd probably be a kindergarten teacher.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's a very cool endeavor, and keep at it because I love seeing Christmas content as well too. Favorite foods we always like to wrap up with. I read in your bio your favorite food is toast. Is that true?
Uh-huh. Yeah, and it absolutely is.
What's your absolute favorite thing or topping you have to put on toast?
I would say like a burrata or bruschetta is my number one like favorite food. You're not gonna. I guess you could order toast somewhere, but like a variant of toast is like burrata or bruschetta. The burrata at Woodfire in downtown Rockford is so good. It's just this mozzarella cheese that's like extra fluffy and delicious, and they have some sort of salt on their crust, which is the bread part of it. That is amazing. So you have to get that if you come to Rockford, Woodfire downtown. I just love toast. I'm laughing because it's a main part of my book too. I just always love toast.
Yeah, no, and I love that you went the burrata angle too. I was curious where you were going to go with that, but spoken like a true food media member that's been to a bunch of restaurants who knows a good burrata. Yeah. What's your Portillo's order? Most popular probably chain in the Illinois Stateline region, famous for Italian beefs and a bunch of other things too. But what do you like to get when you're there?
Chopped salad, no cheese with a side of cheese fries.
That's the healthiest Portillo's order I've seen in a long time. Nice job.
I mean, it's not that healthy, but you got to get the cheese fries.
And we always end with our 19th hole question, but I'm going to spin it for something that I know you like. So at the end of a long day, that's when we have our 19th hole meal as golfers. But the end of a long day, I know you like a good wine and chocolate. So tell me, like, what's the chocolate going to be and what's the wine paired with it at the end of the day?
So the wine depends on what season we're in. It's like so hot out right now. So unless you're blasting your air, I just don't think you can have like a great red wine. But there is a red wine and it's from Cooper's Hawk. And I'm trying to remember. I think it's called Romantic Red. Okay. So you put it in the fridge, which is rare. Romance Red. Thank you. It's Romance Red. My producer's actually in my ear and she knows what wine it is too. So Romance Red. It's so, so good. It's like juice, but perfect for summer. And I think my favorite chocolate right now is this bag you could buy at Target. It's like a s'mores mix. That's what it's called. It's Target brand Favorite Day s'mores mix. And it's little marshmallows, little cereals covered in chocolate. And honestly, that goes well with the juice wine.
That's like a campfire and a bite there. I love that.
I know.
Awesome. Good. Michelle, thank you so much for joining the Course of Life. Appreciate your perspective and background in the broadcasting world and look forward to creating more content with you in the Stateline area as well.
Yeah, Alex, thank you so much.
Course of Life podcast is brought to you by Zencastr. We've been using Zencastr here since almost the very beginning as how Alex and I record this podcast from hundreds of miles away. And it provides us with great quality audio that works every time. And it's something that makes Course of Life what it is and has kept us being able to make consistent episodes every week. And now it's super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. You log in using your browser and start recording a high quality podcast right away. You record studio quality sound and up to 4K video with your guests. You feel a sense of zen, knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. And have you ever wondered what you actually sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. Head on over to zencastr.com/pricing and use our promo code CourseOfLife to get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all of your podcasting and content needs. Again, that's zencastr.com/pricing and our promo code CourseOfLife. Zencastr, it's time to share your story. We're back. Great chat with Michelle. Love to hear how professional the professionals are, that they have they got an earwig. They got a producer talking to them and listening and telling them what to say. So when she can't think of the right thing to say, the producer will tell her. Very different from the shoddy amateur production value that we put up here week after week. It's just two guys from the Northeast just bullshitting our way through a podcast.
Yeah, that's the difference between the little leagues and the big leagues, where Michelle plays like on actual TV, that people see and stuff like that. Producer in the ear supplying the answer on the fly. That was definitely a first for us, but I appreciated having Michelle do the interview in the studio as well, which you can check out on our YouTube video if you want to check that out. But looking forward to creating more content with Michelle up in the Stateline area this summer. It's going to be fun.
And if you like that conversation with Michelle, plus everything else we do here on this podcast, make sure you punch that subscribe button on the podcast app you're using right now. Leave us a rating. 4 stars is ideal. 3 stars is just fine. Anything less than that, I don't want to hear from you. I just don't want to hear any negative feedback whatsoever. So
because as the Instagram comments approve, there's no negative feedback out there at all. None.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just camping out in 3 stars right now. That's what you're doing. You're just camping out in 3 stars. You're not asking for enough stars, according to the comments.
Nope, I'm not going to enough stars. It's 3 stars. Look, it's 3 stars. It's more than 2. It's more than 1.
Thank you. 82 and a 65 is fast enough. I'll say it again.
All right, let's talk some basketball. It's the NBA free agency period and the draft. Everyone's going crazy because LeBron James has opted into his contract. He's sticking around in LA for $54 million.
Seems that way. Yeah, the money just gets absolutely crazier and crazier. And you said it. This is that time where everyone's NBA brain gets completely jumbled because everybody's about to switch teams in the next week right now. By the time this podcast airs, there's going to be 3 more trades that happen. So just buckle up. Don't look at an NBA roster of any sorts for like a few weeks. Let this whole thing sort itself out, and then we'll see what the next season has to hold.
The biggest thing we can say is a Cooper Flag is a Maverick.
Yeah. Shout out Cooper Flag from the state of Maine, by the way. I mean, what a rare bird that an NBA unicorn like this is from the great state of Maine repping. So yeah, Cooper Flag on the Mav. That's going to be interesting to watch as well.
Before we get to food, we have to head to Venice, Italy.
Yep. That's right.
Because all the celebrities are in Venice for the highly controversial Amazon wedding. Yeah,
Jeff Bezos' wedding. And then the funny comment that you'll appreciate is, it's interesting. Jeff Bezos spent $15 million on this wedding in Venice, and there was only about 200 people on the guest list. Like, it was all celebrities, though. Where were his actual friends and family?
Yeah, right. Let me tell you something, Jeff. You could have taken that $50 million and given it to all your employees, and they would have been very happy.
I mean, I think the PR thing that he missed out on is he should have done a random lottery where 10 Amazon Prime members just got free invites to the wedding. That's a big PR move that he missed out on right there. He missed out on that one big time.
Yeah.
One of those celebrities, my guy, Tommy Brady. So I obviously had to bring up Tommy,
He's having a great month, by the way. He won the frickin' Fanatics Fest, which I didn't even know what the hell that was until I saw that he won that.
It's basically like the South by Southwest of collectibles these days.
Yes. Yeah,
he's on fire. And the new rumor swirling. Your thoughts on Tom Brady and Sydney Sweetie getting up close and personal this past weekend? You think that's a match, or now is that a flop?
I feel like it's a flop. It feels like too big of an age gap right now.
20 years, 47 and 27, if you're wondering.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, look, the thing I'm really thinking here is that Tom needs to follow in his coach's footsteps, and he needs like I can't believe I'm saying this because it's so
Sydney
wholly and totally
too old,
inappropriate.
What you're trying to say.
He's too old. I'm trying to say Sydney Sweeney's too old.
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, that's right. And follow the leadership that taught you, right? You know?
Yeah, follow Coach Belichick and find someone that's 50 years your junior.
Well said. Great dating advice right there.
There you go. All right, let's hashtag always end with food.
Yep, 19th hole to wrap up the podcast. My food from the past weekend was a happy hour that was so popular, we couldn't even try the food the first time, Michael. We got to Haywire at the Domain in Austin. And you know a place is popular when you walk in at 5 p.m. on the dot and every single table and every single seat at the bar is taken at 5 o'clock on the dot. So that's how you know it's a good happy hour. The $7 happy hour featured wines, bourbon berry smash cocktail, but on the food end, the 3 bites that were great at $7, there were chips and queso. I give a solid 8 out of 10. But how about the nice smash burger sliders with the onions and pickles? Always goes hard. And then some elk tacos, Michael. Basically just ground beef, but fancy enough to call them elk tacos because it's elk meat.
Gamier.
So nice $7 eats there at happy hour at Haywire. Which one would you pick first?
Probably the smash burger sliders.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah,
those
sound pretty good. You can't go wrong with a good slider.
Yeah. So that was my best food deal. Haywire, they're all over Texas as well, too. That's a wrap on Always End with Food and this week's Course Life podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe right now if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week.